Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow Rotarians and friends of Rotary. First of all, I would like to thank District Governor Sandhya Maini, Assistant Governors, past District Governors of District 7080, and all club presidents, club members, and District Vocational Services Committee team. Thank you everyone for joining this webinar. Vocational Service is the cornerstone of Rotary and was a key to the beginning of the Rotary ethos of service above self. Rotary founder Paul Harris reorganized that people could use their vocations to help others in community, and thus Rotary was formed and has been serving its local and international community for over 100 years. January is Vocational Service Month. It is an opportunity to begin year-long vocational services activities ranging from Rotary discussions to awards to community projects. To that end, the District 7080 Vocational Service Committee has developed a 4-part speaker series dedicated to enhancing members and understanding this foundational topic. So the first speaker of today's event is Wale Osamiluyi, who is the immediate past president of Rotary Club of Milton, District 7080, Canada, and he also is the past president of Rotary Club of OK Ona Amba, District 9110, Nigeria. So I will give it to Wale, and Wale, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sunil. Good morning, District Governor, Assistant District Governors, past District Governors, Vocational Service Committee, Rotary District 7080 members, fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors, guests, and friends of Rotary. It's nothing short of a great honor to be given a presentation today to commemorate the Vocational Service Month for this Rotary year. I'm just trying to share my screen, and that's it. Vocational service is one of the Rotary's avenues of service, very, very important avenue of service, and it is a very important avenue of service, as I've mentioned. I will attempt to try to talk to us, have conversations around embracing vocational service, around promoting it, to ensure that by the end of the presentation, participants will be much more knowledgeable about vocational service. Vocational service is one of Rotary avenue of service, as I mentioned. It's a way that Rotary fosters and supports the application of ideal of service to the pursuit of all vocations. It runs based on, it's kind of embedded in the object of Rotary. I also go through the object of Rotary. I'll start by that, which is a philosophical statement of Rotary's purpose and responsibility of Rotarians. The object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as a basis of worthy enterprise, and in particular to encourage and foster, 1, development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service. 2, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. 3, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. 4, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service. The concept of vocational service itself is rooted and embedded in the second object of Rotary, which encourages or calls on Rotarians to act with high ethical standards in business and professions, and to recognize the worthiness of all useful occupations and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. Paul Harris, the founder of Rotary, wrote, and I quote, Each Rotarian is a connecting link between the idealism of Rotary and their trade or profession. Hopefully, at the end of this conversation, participants here present will be able to have a kind of understanding into what Paul Harris was thinking about when he made this course. So I'll try to give us suggest ways by which we can better embrace, better advance vocational service, and hopefully after the conversation, we'll have a clear understanding of what Paul Harris meant by his quote or his insights. Rotary kinds of emphasizes integrity and ethical behavior. And vocational service is a way, or is this avenue service helps promote and advance integrity and ethical standards in everything that we do. It utilizes two standards that were developed by Rotarians. And those two standards ensure or provide a roadmap for us to behave ethically in our workplaces and act with integrity in everything that we'll do. One of it is the four-way test, and the other is the Rotarian Code of Conduct. The four-way test in itself of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? The four-way test is a kind of philosophical statement that all Rotarians must or should abide to. It shows commitment to truth, to fairness, to goodwill and friendships, and ensure that everything we think, we say, or do is beneficial to everybody that is involved. This is who we are as Rotarians. This four-way test was conceived in 1932 by a businessman called Herbert Taylor. Herbert Taylor was a member of the Rotary Club of Chicago, and he was president of, the RI president, Rotary International president for the 1954-1955 Rotary year. At that time, he had taken up the task of saving a particular company from bankruptcy, and he had developed this test as an ethical guide also to be followed in all business matters. Eventually, the application of this particular test to this company ensured that the company survived. So the company survival was credited to this simple philosophy. 2 years after, that was 1934, Rotary International adopted the four-way test, and since then it has remained an ethical standard against which we as Rotarians measure our ethical behavior. And over time, it's been translated into so many languages and promoted by Rotarians globally. The other standard is the Rotary Code of Conduct, which also provides an ethical framework for behavior, provide a framework for ethical behavior in everything that we do. The Rotary Code of Conduct. The following code of conduct has been adopted for the use of Rotarians. As a Rotarian, 1, I will act with integrity and high ethical standards in my personal and professional life. 2, I will deal fairly with others and treat them with respect and their occupations, with respect. 3, I'll use my personal skills through Rotary to mentor young people, help those with special needs, and improve people's quality of life in my community and in the world. 4, I will avoid behavior that reflects adversely on Rotary and other Rotarians. So as I mentioned earlier on, the Rotary Code of Conduct is also another framework or another standard by which we as Rotarians, through vocational service, can help advance ethical behaviors and act in integrity in everything that we do, everything that we say, and our daily lives. When you look at the content, it's kind of similar. It promotes integrity, it promotes fairness, although it's much more focused on our occupations. It also allows us and encourages us to use our skills through Rotary to mentor young people, to help those with special needs, and improve the quality of life in our community and globally. And the fourth part of it, which is also extremely important, it encourages us to, it instructs us to avoid behaviors that reflect adversely on Rotary and other Rotarians. Because as Rotarians, we represent Rotary, and we also represent each and every Rotarian in everything that we'll do. So it's extremely important that we only exhibit character traits that promote Rotary in good light and enhances the reputation of Rotary and the Rotarians. I'll also try, give us some background on Rotary and talk about the classification principle, which is also directly related to vocational service. Rotary is the first service club. It was founded on the 23rd of February, 1905. Next month, we'll probably be doing, I think, the 118th, celebrating the 118th year of existence of Rotary. At that time, Paul Harris, who was the founder, he was a lawyer, and three of his friends, Gustavus Lear, a mining engineer, Sylvester Shell, the coal dealer, and Hiram He Shore, a tailor, they met in a small office in Chicago, and they formed Rotary. The reason why Rotary has that name, Rotary, was because at that time, they rotated the various places of, the meeting, the very various places of their business was, served as the venue for their meetings. So they kind of rotated the meeting venues among each other's places of business. And the rotating it kind of, they decided to focus, to use the name Rotary based on the fact that they were rotating the meetings based on their various workplaces of business. And this tradition remained an excellent ways for Rotarians to share their occupations with their club. The classification principle describes the distinct and recognized business or professional service that Rotarians renders to service. And like I said, it goes back to the start of Rotary when Paul Harris and his friends, rotated meetings. And what they tried to do at that time was to ensure that every club was a reflection of the classifications in the community. So they wanted a diverse club with different classifications, and they were so bent on ensuring that they took advantage of the experience and perspectives of members, of their members being of different classifications. In those days, before the recent times, in order to recruit members for Rotary, clubs will embark on what you call a classification survey. And the essence of the acquisition survey at that time was to identify classifications that are not represented in the club. And clubs will channel and focus their energy in ensuring that they recruit the classifications that are not represented. Paul Harris did not want an association of lawyers or an association of engineers or an association of accountants. He was kind of tired with that. He didn't want like a union or whatever. He just wanted Rotary to be different and wanted to ensure that Rotary completely reflects the different classification that existed in the community. As I said earlier, as Rotarians, we represent our vocations in Rotary and Rotary through our vocations. As Rotarians, when we come for our meetings or when we're in Rotary, we represent our vocations. Hence, it is extremely important that we act with integrity, we act ethically. And when we go out there and claim to be Rotarians, we are also representing Rotary to our vocations, to our professions. So it's very important that we try and understand who we are as ambassadors of our vocations in Rotary and as Rotary ambassadors to our vocation. Vocational service calls on us as Rotarians to empower others by using unique skills and expertise to address community needs and help others discover new professional opportunities and interests. That being said, I will now give ideas or suggest ideas on how we can better advance vocational service, project ideas, what we can do individually, what we can do as a club, what we can do as groups. The essence of whatever I'm trying to do is just to ensure that we better promote and better embrace vocational service for the benefit of Rotary and for the benefit of humanity. So one of the things we can do is to promote the 4-way test. I read the 4-way test, we see the contents, it's what we abide with as Rotarians. We can display this 4-way test in our club meeting rooms. We can recite at the start or end of our meetings. This is very important. It will also be wonderful or great if as Rotarians over time, we can decide to recite the 4-way test without seeking for help. It will be great. And we can also post the 4-way test on prominent billboards in our community. This is very, very important. Sometimes last year, I was attending I was attending a presentation by an attorney, and it was a presentation on leadership. The attorney was spot on in terms of, in terms of what one needs, strategies for effective leadership and stuff like that. But at the point, he had mentioned that there's a statement by a club called Rotary. He wasn't a Rotarian, and he had said the four-way test. He was like quoting the four-way test. It was part of his presentation. I was dumbfounded. I was just quiet. I didn't know what to say. I was extremely proud to be a Rotarian. And he said personally, he adopts it. He's not a Rotarian, but he, one way or the other, had been able to connect with the four-way test. Maybe someone, maybe a particular club, posted it on a billboard. I don't know, but it was great to see a not Rotarian, tapping into what we use as Rotarians to act ethically and with integrity. We can also promote the Rotary Code of Conduct, which is also important. We can encourage members to adopt it and display in their workplaces. We should not just be talking. It's not just about talking. We should walk the talk. That means we should demonstrate a personal commitment to high ethical standards in everything that we say, we think, or we do. In all our activities, in our communities, in our workplaces, it's not just saying what we're saying, it's not just having this conversation, but actions. Our actions must show commitments to the values that Rotary encourages us to share with all. We can also have classification talks at clubs. As clubs, we can set aside a specific meeting or designate meetings as classification talks. These talks were traditionally used to acquaint Rotarians with members, just to let members kind of have a feel about Rotarians. Over time, it recognizes personal aspect of life. It gives opportunities for Rotarians to get to know about each other's background, education, career path, and current vocation, and aspirations with Rotary. The classification talks, most clubs or most people would encourage new members to give classification talks and talk about themselves, ask questions, but it's not just about the new members, it's also ensuring or having the older members to also give reclassification talks, because this will enable the new members or to kind of know the old members, and things change. The older members may also have reasons to kind of update Rotarians on some things that have changed in their lives. It just brings everyone up to speed, and it's a great way for Rotarians to connect with themselves and kind of know themselves much, much better and learn from themselves, which is critical. We can also advance vocational service by inviting guest vocational speakers like the mayor, a town manager, a parks and recreational manager to give talks about their profession. I remember, I think it was last year again, a Rotary Club in Brampton. They had invited, I think, the High Commissioner or ambassadors of certain embassies in Canada to come give talks and educate people on what they do and how they go about their business. And this was a very great opportunity for participants to ask questions, to develop much more knowledge on the workings and understanding of how these ambassadors operate. We as Rotarians can also, or as a club, can embark or create opportunities for vocational tours. We can be an excellent and unique opportunity for Rotarians, their families, and friends to gain insight and develop better understandings of the contribution made by other vocation and the environment in which that occurred. My club, Rotary Club of Milton, I remember at some point we had the opportunity to visit a winery in Niagara. It was a great opportunity for us to understand how wine is being made from grapes, how it's being manufactured, to the storage, to the distribution, up until the way it gets on the process, how it gets like to the shelves in the store. Everything was clear. We asked questions, it improved our knowledge. And in the picture below, that's me somewhere in Asia. Just me and my team, we visited a company in Asia that manufactures water meters. This is something I'm very familiar with and I use all the time, and I kind of install and supply. I just wanted to have a clear understanding of how these things work. We worked there. We traveled there with my team, and based on the tour, we were able to understand the dynamics, how they produce, how they calibrate, whole lot of processes that go into effect to ensure that these items are delivered in an efficient and effective manner to the end users. We can also advance vocational service by observing the Vocational Service Month, which is January of every Rotary year. This is exactly what we're doing today. It offers us an opportunity for us to reflect on the concept of vocational service as it's implemented in our clubs. Eventually, the conversations or discussions may eventually lead to laudable projects. It's not just about, ethical consciousness and vocational skills, but can also help bring out talents and encourage and develop talents in our community. We can also come up with Vocational Excellence Service Award that helps recognize vocational excellence and honor outstanding contributions by individuals or small teams of individuals for top performance in each of their various vocational fields. We can host a business networking event with Rotary non-professionals in our community to kind of network with them, get to know them better, and get to learn about their vocations, and they can also get to learn about our own vocations. We can offer a career counseling for unemployed and underemployed youths or adults. We can do this in partnership with the local Chamber of Commerce, or we can do it in partnership with any other partnering organizations that share our values and our goals. We can have a courtesy context or exemplary service award by developing and presenting an award to the most cautious police officer, obliging shop assistant or waitress, or anybody in this in the community that has been exemplary in service delivery. Another thing that we can do this time, going a bit for the younger ones, the elementary schools, we can encourage or organize a 4-way test speech competition. Lots of advantages. It helps them encourage and foster excellence in act of public speaking. It develops their confidence and esteem and self-esteem. And above all, it creates a very good relationship between the schools and Rotary. And also, there's a saying that catch them young. It gives the kids the opportunity to kind of understand what the 4-way test is at an early stage, which is very critical in their development. And it's part and parcel of them in the way they think, in what they say, and in everything that they do. We can do this by dealing with the Interact Club if there's an Interact Club that is in existing. Otherwise, we can just talk to the school authorities and just try to get this done and develop excellent bonds with the school. As Rotarians, individually, we can decide to join Rotary action groups and support service projects around the world. Rotary action groups are independent Rotary affiliated groups made up of people from around the world who are experts in particular fields, such as economic development, peace addiction prevention, the environment, or water. The Rotary action groups, most of them, they focus on Rotary's 7 areas of focus, which I will mention eventually, at some point in this conversation. I am a member of the Rotary Water and Sanitation Rotarian Action Group. These groups are wonderful. They offer technical expertise and support to clubs. They help to find partners. They help in applications of global grants, community assessments, and they develop plans to monitor and evaluate projects. We can learn more about it by going to the website, which is the Rotary International website, and just in the search area, we put in our Rotarian Action Group, and it takes us to the page, and you can get to read much more about it. There's so many. There's the Rotarian Action Group for Peace. There's the Environmental Sustainability Action Group, lots and lots of them. And we can also join a Rotary Fellowship, which is related to our vocation or our interest or whatever we'll do. It's a group of individuals or people who share a common passion. Being part of a fellowship, it's a very great way to make friends globally. We can explore various hobbies and professions, and it helps enhance our Rotary experience. There are over 100 groups, over 100 fellowships existence I am a member of the Rotary International Fellowship of Rotarian Musicians, International Travel Fellowship. There are so many, depend on what we all like. You have the bird watching, you have the cycling, you have the flying, you have the bees, you have, the antique automobiles or vehicles, you have cruising. So many fellowships that we can all, that we're free to join as individuals. And perhaps there's one that we would like to form that doesn't exist. There's also a procedure as Rotarians to go ahead and form a Rotary Fellowship. But it's beautiful. It's an opportunity to connect with people globally, and we all share the same hobbies. It's always fun. And being a member of the fellowship that I am today has added so much value to me in terms of to my personality. We can also help young people achieve their career goals by sponsoring a character building project or workshop, career day, or job shadowing or mentorship program. This can be done with the local Chamber of Commerce, or it can be done in partnership with a partnering organization that shares our values, that shares our goals. I remember 2020 under the leadership of our AG now for our cluster, Romeo. We had Milton Youth Summit, which was a great opportunity. It was supposed to be a local thing. Eventually, it became like Canadian, and eventually it became international. It gave the youths the opportunity to have professionals talk to them, mentors talk to them. They had talks, by qualified professionals for mental health. It was a huge event with great feedbacks and excellent participation. So it's a great way to kind of add value to the youths and help them achieve their goals career-wise. We can also, as a club, set aside or designate meetings to discuss ethical dilemmas. These are workshop or interactive activities to discuss ethical resolutions to challenging scenarios. I also remember the most recent that we did as a club under the able leadership of Rebecca, who's our club service chair and admin chair for our club, Rotary Club of Milton. She had come up with a scenario at that time for a charitable organization, non-profit organization that usually takes donations of items from the community. When they take these items, they clean them, they label them, they put the price, and then put them on the shelves for sale to would-be buyers. And on this certain day, someone had gone to deposit a bit of furniture, but it was a day that it was a non-working day for the charitable organization. It was a non-working day. And then someone else was driving past who had great interest in that particular furniture. The furniture had been on his bucket list for a very long time, so it was a great opportunity. Oh my God, this is what I'm looking for. He went, grabbed the furniture, and with the intention of going back 2 days later, once the organization opens, to let them know that he or she, took the furniture, and whatever price they want to put on it, he can kind of do the needful. And the question was, people should, fellow Rotarians, from an ethical perspective, did he do the right thing or did he do the wrong thing? And there was a school of thought that said he did the wrong thing, that he was selfish. He should have waited for the process for everything to go through the normal process. The store comes, take it, and clean it up, put it on the shelf, and give everybody an equal opportunity based on equity to be able to pick up the product. And that's the right thing to do. And there was another school of thought that said, oh, if he didn't pick it up, someone else must have picked it. At least he went back there, or maybe the weather, the wind, or whatever could have messed it up. But what's critical here is not anybody being right or anybody being wrong. The essence of ethical dilemmas is to allow us as Rotarians to understand the ethical framework or ethical approach to resolving this kind of challenging scenarios. So as Rotarians, I encourage us to go back to our clubs and develop scenarios that we can all contribute to in an ethical manner, with a view of ensuring that we all achieve an ethical resolution to those scenarios. As Rotarians, individually, although most of the time it's being organized by a district, but we can get involved in Rotary Friendship Exchange. A Rotary Friendship Exchange is an international program for Rotarians and friends and allows participants to take turns hosting one another in their homes and clubs, and participants may travel as individuals, couples, families, or group, and may be Rotary members or not. The benefit is it broadens international understanding. It can give us the opportunity to explore professions or job in different contexts. The picture that is being shown is, I believe, I'm not sure if it's the most recent, but this is the most recent as that I know of. I think it was in 2019. This was also by our district. At that time, this is a district from Mexico. I think they are reciprocating an earlier visit by our district to their district in Mexico. This is the Milton Go station. They were visiting Milton, so we had gone to welcome them with some district officials or members of the district Rotary Friendship Exchange Committee. We had gone to welcome them to Milton. I remember, I think the next day we had a party for them at the residence of one of our Rotarians, Rotarian Rob Rubino. It was a great opportunity for us to connect, to learn from them. And there were so many other activities that were lined up just to make sure that their stay was memorable. It's a great opportunity for us to learn cultures. It's a great opportunity for us to gain opportunities for projects and learn about food, languages, find partners for grants, etc. And I also remember in my previous club or district several years ago, so many years ago, between me and my wife, we had hosted a visiting district from the Rotary Friendship Exchange participants from a district in the US. We hosted them in our house. They had our food. We had together. They kind of appreciated our culture. We also appreciated the American culture at that time. It's always a great opportunity for us to learn from each other, and the learnings and the benefits are phenomenal. And we can also volunteer our skills and expertise to serve by participating in vocational training teams. Vocational training teams involves group of professionals traveling to either learn more about their vocation or to teach local professionals about a particular field. It helps create sustainable change by strengthening knowledge and skills of individuals and communities. Vocational training teams are awesome. One of the requirements, if it's been done through a global grant, is to ensure the focus on one of the Rotary's 7 areas of focus. I'd mentioned that I was going to mention these areas of focus before: the peace and conflict prevention resolution, disease prevention and treatment, water and sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, community and economic development, support of the environment. The other guidelines that needs to be followed for it to be approved or for us to be able to apply using through a global grant. But what is key is that the team lead should be a Rotarian. It should be someone with leadership skills, international experience, and expertise in that particular area of focus, and at least 2 other Rotarians with 2 years of work experience in the particular areas of focus. Rotarians can also work with a district foundation. They can also apply for districts or qualify for district grants. In our district, the district committee foundation, Rotary Foundation chairman is past district governor Leslie Bamania. So we can have conversation with her around vocational training teams through district grants in our district. As Rotarians, we can also volunteer our skills. Most of what I have here are things that we did as a club. We talk about volunteering our time. We talk about volunteering our talent. This is who we are as Rotarians, and especially looking at things from the perspective of our classification. As a club, we embarked on blood donation drive. This was ably led by a nurse in our club, Caroline, and we also have a barbecue that we move around for activities to assist humanity, assist the community. We cook and flip burgers for humanity, depending on the requirements. So this is a skill that we all, as Rotarians, volunteer. You can see from the pictures, and there's this 1 week free medical clinic that we had, also led by a nurse who totally selflessly dedicated our time and our vocation to travel to Nigeria for a 1 week free medical clinic, which was very, 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 which turned out to be very positive in terms of the achievements. We as a Rotarians, we at Rotarians as a club, we had sent a 40-foot container with medical supplies with Abiola to Nigeria, and she helped people, like eye test. She attended to their blood pressure, diabetes education. I mean, there's so many things that she did in partnership with another club there in Nigeria. During my year as president, we also donated some items to senior care package. It's not that I'm promoting the project, but I'm just trying to say what we did as Rotarians, because we had to go buy some of these items, the care items that was donated to the Allendale senior care home. We bought the items. We had Rotarians volunteering their skills to sort the items, to pack the items. Some volunteered their skills as drivers to drive the items to the location and deliver to the recipients. That being said, by undertaking these activities and promoting them through various channels like district or club bulletins, newsletters, websites, social media, etc., we bring vocational service to life. Keep in mind, fellow Rotarians, friends, it's not just about undertaking these activities. Yes, it's extremely important to undertake the activities, but it's much more critical to also promote them through various channels available or at our disposals. A friend of mine used to say in my club that Rotary is the best kept secret. This should not be so. We should try as much as possible to undertake these activities and ensure we promote them. And when we do this, we bring vocational service to life. Vocational service is the essence of Rotary and serves as the foundation from which we serve our communities around the world. Each Rotarian is a connecting link between the idealism of Rotary and their trader profession. This was the quote by Paul Harris. I hope after this conversation, we now have an understanding of what Paul Harris was thinking when he was making the quote. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Wale. It was a great presentation on vocational services in action. As a district chair for 7080 for vocational services, thank you for giving us an opportunity to serve you and the communities. Any questions for Wale or myself at this point of time? And thank you, Scott, for your comments. I appreciate that. Thank you, Romeo, as well. And thank you, Mary. Any questions from any members? So we do not have any questions at this point of time, Wale. Let me see, something is coming up. Can the slides be shared or will they be uploaded to the website? So the recordings will be updated on the district website. We'll create in the page of vocational services. We'll have an archive over there. So it will be uploaded there. Thank you, Susan, for your comments as well. Okay, so please register for the upcoming sessions. The next one is coming up on January the 11th, Wednesday from 7:45 to 8:30 p.m. We'll have immediate past Rotary International President Shekhar Mehta on the webinar. He'll be addressing us on the topic vocational service in Rotary world. So please join the session, and we need your support to make this a successful event. Hi, Uche. You had a question. Go ahead.
Sunil, I've given Uche the ability to talk.
Yes, thank you, Sunil. Thank you very much, Wale, for your presentation. It was indeed very rich. First of all, Happy New Year, everyone. I'll be specific with my question. Recently in my club, we've had the challenge of effectively separating services rendered by professionals, that is who we are, to the club, and also services we render to ourselves as professionals. So a professional would want to apply his professional expertise to help the club. And sometimes it's not exactly easy to offer the services free of charge, especially because of the extended services involved. But the club thinks that as Rotarians, that are volunteers and are humanitarian in nature, every service from every Rotarian that is a professional has to be free of charge. So I'm just wondering if there is a guide as to help clubs decide how to navigate these usually murky waters, because there's been some, rancor in deciding how to go about it. So should Rotarians offer these services for free no matter what, or should clubs understand that certain services really can't be offered for free? Not because the Rotarian doesn't want to do it for free, but he or she just can't do it for free. What's your take on that?
You want me to answer, Sunil, or you want? Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So we've been talking about the four-way test. It is the bedrock of what we think, what we say, or what we do. There's different kind of cases. Every situation is unique, but I'll defer us back to the four-way test. The club needs to look at it to see if whatever action they're taking is, at the end of the day, beneficial to everyone that is concerned. And as Rotarian, I think that's what we need to stick with. If a Rotarian is offering a service and it's not fair to the Rotarian, then I think the Rotarian should be paid. That's my own personal opinion. And if it's fair to if it's fair not to pay, then that's fine. As Rotarians, we're not in the business, even though we try to do what we have to do, three things that we do as Rotarians. First, we contribute our time. Second, we contribute our talent, the treaties, and then we contribute our treasure. And a Rotarian would have paid his dues. A Rotarian might decide to contribute treasure. For the fact that you are not, you don't want to do things free because it's not convenient for you, does not mean you're not doing what you should do as a Rotarian. I think what is important to look at things based on the four-way test, and that will kind of give us the direction that we need to follow. I don't want to talk more about this because different scenarios may require different approaches. Does that address that, Uche?
Yes, it does, Wale. If anyone else has something to add, I will also appreciate that.
Yeah.
Before I say something, eventually what we did as a solution.
Yeah.
Hi, Wale. And
yes, Romeo.
And Sunil. Excellent work, guys. I believe that I'm confident, Wale, that you have touched on very, very significant aspects of vocational training and vocational service. I'm just wondering, the first question is to Sunil. I'm wondering, there are some excellent ideas that Wale has presented, whether any of those ideas will be adopted and taken further through the Vocational Services Committee, to implement some of those ideas, which and I'm talking about the new ones, not ideas that were that he demonstrated that aligned with it, right? I mean, the existing exercises could continue. So I'm just wondering whether there are plans to do that. And my second, well, it's not a question, it's just a comment to add to reinforce what Wale said about professional services. It's not just simply the values that Rotary supports, but there was one particular project that we embarked on, that's the Milton Club, and we had a member. It was a sign, and we had a member who was a contractor, construction, and he was interested in taking on the project, basically doing that. But the reality is, one, you need to make it clear within your grant application that there is a potential conflict of interest. But secondly, in this case, you don't do what's called single tendering or selective bid. You make it open to the public so that it generates what one would call an equitable opportunity for everyone to participate. So that aligns with what Wale said. Is it fair to all concerned? And fair to all concerned is not just Rotarians, it is the public in general that we do. But go back to the question, first question. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Romeo, for bringing these questions to the webinar. The first question certainly will be implementing and executing a few of the ideas which Wale has brought, and we did discuss this in our committee meeting as well. The main important here is to attract the interact clubs and doing some kind of speech competitions in around the district clusters, where we can bring the youth to understand more what Rotary is all about, and providing such kind of events will definitely help the community to build in and connect the younger generation to join Rotary in the long run. So certainly we'll be doing that. The second point you had is regarding the contractor giving the projects. I think we need to follow the four-way test in this to understand all the four-way test information, whether this is truth, it is beneficial, and the other two four-way test that is important before providing any project to anyone, because it has to make sense for everyone and deliver to the community. Our main objective is service above self and how we can deliver to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just raising the insight that it is not just the four-way test, but the professional conduct as well in terms of how we do things, because I think, it should not be, we should not operate on a restrictive basis, but we should operate on a full ethical basis. The four-way test plus other professional ethical actions that need to be taken. As I mentioned, example, the bidding process, and there may be other professional conducts, documentation that may have to be followed, such as, for example, the construction project. It would be in the code of ethics that engineers follow, etc. So it's not just the four-way test, but the four-way test is the fundamental foundation for our initial decisions and stepping forward. But great observations, guys.
Thank you, Romeo. And Richard, you had a question. Is there a committee and how many members are there? Yes, we do have a committee in place at the district, and right now we have 5 members in the committee for vocational services. And if you would like to know more in details, certainly we can connect one-on-one and we can discuss further on the upcoming projects for vocational services team. And thank you, Sandia, for your encouragement and support during this webinar. So thank you so much. Any questions, team? We have 10 minutes more for Wale or myself. I don't see any other questions in the queue, Wale. So thank you so much for your time, Wale, and whoever joined today's webinar, thank you so much for taking your time out on Saturday morning. And I wish you everyone a happy new year once again. And please take care of yourself, your family, friends. Stay safe, stay healthy until we meet again on January the 11th at 7:45 p.m. EST for another webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.